Alright, here we go again. I don't really like my second album, and here's why. This is a part 2 to a video I did last year where I talked about how I didn't like my first album called Memories to Forget. Basic recap of that video, I said I didn't like it because A, the songs were extremely amateur, and B, the songs just weren't good, except for maybe like 4 that I still kind of like. In this video, I'm going to be talking about my second album, which I released maybe 10 months after Memories, called A Perfect Tragedy. Yeah, 16-year-old me was on another level. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I get asked the same question of, well, if you don't like it, why did you release it? I'm on the firm stance of, regardless of what I think of the songs now, I was proud of them at the time. So 16-year-old me was listening to the album religiously before it came out and thought, yep, these are the best songs that I have. I look at this album as an improved version of Memories to Forget because I realized that an album needs to actually take you on a journey, not just slapping 15 songs together and calling it an album. Now, in 2020, which is a year that I think that all of us want to erase from our memories, I wrote 68 songs. I am not exaggerating, here is a list as proof. Out of those 68 songs, 55 of them were written for A Perfect Tragedy. Some of those songs I did use in future releases like Obsolete and Say Goodbye, You Had Me at Survived, No One Feels Like I Do, etc. However, there are some songs that I am not releasing under any circumstances. However, some of the songs that made the final album were a pure example of quantity over quality. I went back to old ideas that I threw away for a couple of years. The oldest song on there is One Last Dance, which I started writing when I was 12. Kind of explains why it's one of my least favorite songs ever. I'm not going to be doing a track-by-track rundown of the album like I did with Memories, mainly because it's 17 songs long and I can't be bothered. What I'm going to be doing instead is list the problems I have with the album as a whole. Issue number 1. It's too long. I've checked and A Perfect Tragedy has 17 songs and goes for 1 hour and 18 minutes. To put that into context, Memories goes for 55 minutes. This one goes for 78 minutes. The album I released after it, which was Diary of a Tortured Mind, goes for 62 minutes. And my new album called Welcome to My House, out now, definitely not doing any shameless self-promotion here, goes for around 52 minutes. The first 2 songs on the album, being 413 Miles and The Carousel, both go for nearly 7 minutes each. And that didn't set off any alarm bells. If I made this album again, I would have cut at least 4 songs. It did not need 17. This kind of leads me into issue number 2, which is it gets boring. I think I used the same chord progression in songs like maybe 5 times.
Let's be honest, probably more.
And all the songs in general just sound the same. The subject matters in the songs were all the same. Like, you can only find so many ways to say You Broke My Heart. Off the top of my head, Lucifer, One Last Dance, and All My Life use the same chords and I think in the same order. I really don't remember. And the more that I think about it, Tonight My Whole World Dies 2 also does, but it's in a different tuning, so whatever. And finally, issue number 3. While I said that A Perfect Tragedy was an improvement on the production, yeah, let's talk about it. This is kind of an extension to my point of all the songs sounding the same. Here was my creative process at the time. Record guitar, record vocals, put in some strings, and then maybe a synth pad, and then boom, song done, next. Back in those days, I refused to put drums on any of the songs for some reason, so I get why people were telling me that the album was boring. There are some songs that sounded fine without drums, for example, 413 Miles, Let the Credits Roll, and Broken. However, there are some songs that really could have benefited from drums, like The Carousel, Betrayed, Lucifer, and All My Life. Now, I don't want this to be thought of as me completely shitting on the album. Like, I still do have favorites to this day. To name a few, Let the Credits Roll, Tonight My Whole World Dies 2, Broken, and I Wanna Be Alone. But there are also some songs that are my least favorite ever. Judas, Betrayed, One Last Dance, Need I Go On. Do not expect a part 3 to this video because I released Diary of a Tortured Mind a year and a half later and I still love it to this day. The only song that I've played live on this album is Let the Credits Roll, mainly because A, I love it, and B, it's a great storyteller song. I've played it live a few times. More recently, I brought it out on my Live on the Beach series, which was really fun. With Diary of a Tortured Mind, I actually realized that I could make some heavier music, which was something that I wanted to do from day one. My issues with A Perfect Tragedy are more as a whole rather than individual songs, because there are still songs that I love, but apart from that, that's why I don't really like this album. Sorry.